Thank you for downloading this episode of the Physicians Gallery podcast. We have expanded our gallery. It's free to visit with no need to book a ticket. Over the next few months, we'll be exploring some of the fascinating objects we now have on display, from alchemical scrolls and battlefield medicine at Culloden to bloodletting and homeopathy. Please support us and help us to reach new audiences by liking, following, or leaving a comment on whatever podcast platform you are listening on. And please do pay a visit to our gallery when you're next in Edinburgh. We hope you enjoy the podcast. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Daisy Cunynghame, the Physicians Gallery's Heritage Manager.
And I'm Rachel Forrest. I'm the Physicians Gallery's Heritage Engagement Coordinator. And today we are talking about the Scotch thistle.
Sounds very appropriate,
doesn't it? So this is an illustration of a Scotch thistle that you can find in the Physicians Gallery on one of our wall vinyls. It is from Elizabeth Blackwell's A Curious Herbal. I'm going to talk more about Elizabeth Blackwell and her herbal in a minute. But first, I'm going to describe the illustration. So the illustration is on a dark cream-coloured paper. On the top right, it says, in very delicate writing, plate 79. So that means it's the 79th plate of this book. At the bottom of the page, on the left, it says Scotch Thistle. In the top centre of the page, there's a number 1. And under that, there's the illustration of a thistle. Then at the bottom of the page, it has a 1 again, and it says that this is the flower. On the top right, there's a number 2, and there's a little illustration of a seed. And then down at the bottom, in the key, it says that 2 is the illustration of the seed. So I'm going to describe this illustration of a thistle. The stem of the thistle is quite thick, looks very strong, and it shoots straight up. From it grows 4 oval, jaggy-looking leaves. The edges of the leaves curl at different sections. They look quite dry. The leaf at the bottom is the biggest, and then as they go up, they get smaller. Next to the second biggest leaf, on the right, there is a flower that hasn't yet bloomed, and it's entirely green. It's a bulb of jaggy, thorny leaves, something that you wouldn't want to touch.
Sounds like every thistle I've ever come into contact with, yes.
Yes. So at the top of this stem is the thistle flower in bloom. I can only describe it as a kind of small globe of spiky leaves and then fluffy pink-red flower on top.
So not purple. I picture it as purple.
I picture a thistle as purple, but this illustration is quite a pinky red. There's like a purpley hue, but it's a pinky red. And whether that's because of like fading of the page or that was just the thistle that it was that colour, I'm not sure. Now, when I say Scotch thistle, I assume that everyone is thinking, this is the Scottish thistle. This is the thistle that is the flower of Scotland, right?
Yes.
You're wrong.
Oh.
So this thistle has got a lot of names. It can be called the milk thistle, the blessed milk thistle, the Mary thistle, the Saint Mary thistle, the Mediterranean milk thistle, or the Scotch thistle. But it is not to be confused with the actual thistle of Scotland, which is actually the spear thistle.
Oh. Fooled by the name.
Yeah.
It sounds like it should be.
So the actual Scottish thistle, the one that is on all Scottish emblems, that is the spear thistle. And that spear thistle is native to Scotland. It grows in Scotland. But this thistle, the one in the illustration, the one that's confusingly called the Scotch thistle, is not native to Scotland. It does grow in Scotland now, but it is not native to here.
Why is it called the Scots thistle?
I think it's called the Scots thistle because it looks like our thistle. So it looks like the spear thistle.
I see.
So I've done a lot of research and I've become very confused by the different types of thistle because in some publications, both are called the Scottish thistle or the Scots thistle. But from what I can find out, There is the spear thistle, which is native to Scotland, so it is the original Scots thistle. And then there's this other thistle grown in other parts of the world, and people go, oh, hey, that looks like the Scots thistle, so let's call it the Scotch thistle.
That's unhelpful.
Okay, so we have that clear. This is not the native Scots thistle. This is not the thistle that you will find on any Scottish emblem. This thistle, the Scots thistle, that's not the Scots thistle, it actually originates from North Africa and the Mediterranean. So it's used to a much warmer climate, not as muggy, not as damp, but it can grow in Scotland, and you will find it here now. Obviously, if it's in our gallery, it has to have a medical use. So it has been used for over 200 years to treat liver and spleen complaints, as well as snake bites and mushroom poisoning.
Shall we do our usual disclaimer at this point?
Yes, do not try this at home. If you have been bitten by a snake, phone 999. Do not put a thistle on it.
Thank you.
Because it might be the wrong thistle.
Also, it doesn't work.
Also it doesn't work. Something very surprising. Do you think you can eat a thistle?
I wouldn't want to. I possibly could, but I don't think I'd enjoy it.
Well, you can. And it apparently tastes and has a similar texture to a globe artichoke.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was thinking of it a method of torture.
No, so if you peel off the spiny bits inside, there's basically a mini globe artichoke that you can eat.
Probably still not going to try it.
No, I'm not going to try it either because it sounds like a lot of hassle for like a small amount of food. And that's both types. So that is the native spear thistle and the non-native Scotch thistle. That is the star of today's podcast. You can eat both, but again, maybe don't, just in case.
Thanks for the advice.
You're welcome. Okay, so since we're talking about thistles, and although this is a Scotch thistle and not a spear thistle, I thought it was a good chance to talk about a spear thistle a bit more. And it has a few more uses, and I think that is because traditionally that is the thistle that has been grown in Scotland. So folk healers throughout Scottish history have used the spear thistle to treat joint pain, types of arthritis, and like inflammation. Whether that works or not, I'm not sure, but it was definitely used to try give some relief to joint pain and arthritic pain. It's also been used to treat bleeding piles.
Not sure spikes. I mean, again, hopefully you're peeling it very carefully first.
It's also been used to treat toothache and nervous disorders. Those two things are very different from each other, and I'm not sure how one plant can treat both toothache and nervous disorders.
If you start asking questions like that, then the whole history of medicine falls apart.
Yes.
There's a lot of that.
But to be clear, that is the spear thistle, so the native thistle to Scotland, and not this thistle, the Scotch thistle, which, although it's called the Scotch thistle, is not native to Scotland.
I feel like you're going to have to say that about 40 more times before it actually lodges in my brain.
Yes. And just to add on, if you do want to eat a thistle, they are actually a really good source of fibre, protein, and minerals, including phosphorus, magnesium, calcium, copper, and zinc.
I'm not sure you're doing a great job for the Thistle marketing board, but I appreciate the effort.
Okay, so a bit of context about this illustration. This illustration, as I said at the start, was by Elizabeth Blackwell. It's from her Curious Herbal, which was released in parts between 1737 and 1739. Elizabeth Blackwell's Herbal is in 3 volumes. So volume 1 and 2 are all the illustrations. There are 500 medicinal plants in her herbal. And then volume 3 is the text section. So to understand the herbal, you kind of need all 3 volumes. If you just have volume 1 with the illustrations, you're going to have beautiful illustrations, but you're not going to know how to use those plants. So you need to read that with volume 3. And now I'm going to give you a little bit of background on Elizabeth Blackwell. So Elizabeth Blackwell, she's Scottish. She was born in Aberdeen in 1699. She married her second cousin. He was some sort of cousin, Alexander. And he was studying medicine, but it's unclear if he actually got a qualification. I think he didn't get a qualification because he was practicing as a physician, but then some sort of scandal happened and they had to leave. So they go to London. He sets himself up as a printer, but he's not done his apprenticeship and he doesn't have authority to be set up as a printer. So he gets fined heavily and he gets sent to a debtor's prison. Now, this leaves Elizabeth with no money. She's got a young child. Her husband's in a debtor's prison. She doesn't know what to do. So she decides to use her artistic skill and start drawing her herbal. And she draws mostly from real life. So she uses the plants at Chelsea Physic Garden to draw the plants in the herbal. She then takes those drawings into the debtor's prison so that her husband, Dodgy Alexander, can give the Latin names of the plants and how they'd be used in medicine. Not only does she draw the plants from real life, but she also does the copper plates. So this is really rare. Usually an artist would do the drawings and then they'd send those drawings to a copper plate engraver. But she didn't have any money for that. So whether she wanted to or not, she had to do all the copper plate engravings herself. She then sent them to get printed. The prints came back to her, and then she hand-coloured every single drawing. So if you see a colour version of any Elizabeth Blackwell plates, they were hand-coloured by her.
That's amazing. And he sounds exhausting.
Yes! So she has this really awful, dodgy husband. But if it hadn't been for him, we wouldn't have Elizabeth Blackwell's herbal. She wouldn't have had to make it. So after releasing her herbal, she gets enough money to get him out of the debtor's prison. And what does he do? He goes to Sweden. The king of Sweden becomes a patron, but he somehow gets embroiled in some sort of espionage, and then he gets beheaded in Sweden.
That was not going to be my guess as to what came next.
Yeah! You think, oh, she got him out of the debtor's prison, they have a happy life. No. He has to go to Sweden and get his head chopped off.
Yeah. I mean, it's an eventful life, maybe not a successful one, but eventful.
And there's very little that's known about Elizabeth Blackwell after that. I don't really know what happened to her. I hope she had a nice life away from her dodgy husband.
Well, I mean, he was certainly out of the picture.
Yeah, out of her head too.
Thank you for listening to this Physicians Gallery podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, click like, or leave a positive review or comment. We truly appreciate your support because it helps us reach more people. If you'd like to know more about the Physicians Gallery, our exhibitions and upcoming events, please check out our website and social media pages. Links are in the description for this episode. Thank you.